Hello everyone! Today, we're going to talk about the measures of dispersion for group data. We know that the object of measuring dispersion is to ascertain the degree of deviation which exists in the data, and hence, the limits within which the data will vary in some measurable variate or attribute or quality. This object of dispersion is of great importance and occupies a unique position in statistical methods. Measures of dispersion is defined as the values which are used to determine how the values are scattered on either side of the center in a given distribution. Measures of dispersion is ultimately significant, for it shows the scattering of data, tells the variation of the data from one another, and gives a clear idea about the distribution of the data. In simplest terms, measures of dispersion shows the homogeneity or the heterogeneity of the distribution of the observations or class. Measures of dispersion can be both used on either group data or ungroup data. But here, we will just going to focus on the measures of dispersion of the group data. To determine the measures of dispersion of a data, we can use the range, variance, and the standard deviation. For the group data, the range is the difference between the upper class boundary and the lowest class boundary. It is denoted by this formula. The variance, on the other hand, is the square of the standard deviation. It can be solved in two ways, using this one or this formula. The standard deviation is also another way to identify the amount of variation within a dataset. It is merely defined as the square root of the variance, and it can be obtained through this formula. In order to thoroughly understand everything about the measures of dispersion, try to analyze this set of data and calculate for its range, variance, and standard deviation using the given formulas. Suppose that this column is for the class distribution, and these are the frequencies. Let us first compute for the range of this data. To find the range, we have upper class boundary minus the lowest class boundary. The XHB is the value when the highest class interval is added by a constant value of 0.5, so 92 plus 0.5 is equal to 92.5. On the contrary, the XLB will be achieved when we subtract 0.5 from the lowest class interval. Therefore, 18 minus 0.5 is equal to 17.5. 92.5 minus 17.5 is equal to 75. 75 will be the range of the data. Using the same table, let us now get the variance. Remember that the variance is... To compute for its variance, we have two distinct formulas. Either of these two methods will reach the same value of variance. Let us first calculate it using the first formula. To get the values of x, add the class intervals, then divide it by 2. Herein, 18 plus 32 is equal to 50. 50 divided by 2 is 25. The value of x of the first class interval is 25. 33 plus 47 is equal to 80. 80 divided by 2 is 40. When we continue adding the remaining intervals, we will get the values 55, 70, and 85. Let us now proceed in getting the values of f times x. This will be achieved by multiplying the frequencies to the values of x. 3 times 25 is equal to 75. So, 75 is the first value of frequency times the class mark. 6 times 40 is equal to 240. 4 times 55 is equal to 220. 5 times 70 is equal to 350. And 7 times 85 is equal to 595. Afterwards, subtract the values of x to the mean of the data to supply the needed values for the next column. But since the mean is still unknown, we can use the formula summation of fx divided by n, wherein the summation of f times x is the sum of all the values of the frequency times the class mark, and n is the sum of all the frequencies. So, 1480
divided by 25 results to 59.2. 59.2 will be the mean of the data.
Then, subtract 59.2 from all the x values in the data to get the difference of the class mark minus the class mean. For instance, 25, which is the value of x of the first class distribution, minus 59.2 is negative 34.2. 40 minus 59.2 is equal to negative 19.2. 55 minus 59.2 is equal to negative 4.2. 70 minus 59.2 is equal to 10.8. 85 minus 59.2 is equal to 25.8. After solving all the values of x minus x bar, we will now going to square it all. So, negative 34.2 squared is 1169.64. Negative 19.2 squared is 368.64. Negative 4.2 squared is 17.64. 10.8 is 116.64 and 25.8 squared is 665.64. Next, multiply the outcomes or the square of the difference of x and the x bar to its frequencies to satisfy the necessary values for the last column. 3 times 1169.64 is equal to 3508.92. 6 times 368.64 is equal to 2211.84. 4 times 17.64 is equal to 70.56. 5 times 116.64 is equal to 583.2. 7 times 665.64 is equal to 4,659.48. After getting all the products of the frequency and the square of the difference of the x values and the mean, add all the resulting products to obtain its summation. You can now substitute the values to the formula of the variance. The summation of the sum of the product of frequency and square deviation is 11,034 and n is equal to 25. Divide 11,034 by 25, then we will get 441.36 as the variance. At this moment, let us now use the second formula for the variance. The same process will be applied. Complete first the table with the values of d, fd, d squared, and fd squared to quickly compute for the variance. In order to get the values of d, we must look first for the median class of the class distribution. It is the class with the most frequency but lies on or near the center. Herein, we have 7 and 6 as the highest. However, since 7 is not on the middlemost part, we will going to consider 6 as the median class and set its unit deviation to 0. Values above 0 will be then negative 1 and so on, and the values below 0 will be 1, 2, 3, and so forth. Meanwhile, FD will be attained by multiplying the frequency and the unit deviation. 3 times negative 1 is equal to negative 3. 6 times 0 is equal to 0. 4 times 1 is equal to 4. 5 times 2 is equal to 10. And 7 times 3 is equal to 21. For the next column, we just need to square each unit deviation. Therefore, 1, 0, 1, 4, and 9 are the square of each unit deviation. Lastly, in order to complete the table, we will be needing to multiply the frequency to the square of the unit deviation. At this moment, since we already completed the table, we can now use this formula. To get the summation of fd squared, we just need to add them all. The end value will be the total of all the frequencies, which is 25. For the summation of fd, just add all the fd values. So negative 3 plus 0 plus 4 plus 10 plus 21 is equal to 32. Capital I squared will be the square of the interval of the class distribution. The interval will be obtained by subtracting 33 and 18, thus resulting to 15. The quantity of 90 divided by 25 is 3.6, minus 32 divided by 25, which is 1.28 squared, times 15 squared, which is 225 will be 441.36.
Either of the formulas for the variation will come up with the same values. Let us now proceed to the standard deviation of this group data. The standard deviation is simply the square root of the variance. Therefore, the square root of 441.36 is 21.009. 21.009 is the standard deviation of the group data. By means of the range, variance, and the standard deviation, we have determined how scattered the data is. That would be all. I hope that you have learned something about this video. Thank you for watching.